Welcome to the Bodacious Women in Cannabis podcast, the show where the bold and brilliant women cannabis business leaders share their journey and their expertise. Here's your host, Susan Burns.
Hi, this is your podcast host, Susan Burns. I'm also a lawyer in the cannabis industry, and nothing delights me more than showcasing bodacious women in cannabis. Today, we are talking with Jamie Gorman, and Jamie is a co-founder of a company by the name of Highland Goat. And they are going to tell us how it is done in this industry. I'm so excited to talk to you, Jamie. Welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, really great. And you there's so many things I want to talk to you about, Jamie, and you have such a unique approach in your business, and you have a business partner. So if you would just tell us a little bit about the business, where you are, and then what your inspiration for starting was. And you're in New York, right?
I am up in Westchester. So I have always been a cannabis connoisseur, probably from when I was, 21 on. I lived in the city, and it was really my first exposure to be honest, good cannabis. And it got a fire started in me. And just about 7 years ago, I was leaving my corporate job, which was terrible, and I dove right in. And about 5 years later, fast forward, my co-founder Laurel Mason and I just received our AUCP license in New York, and that means adult use conditional processing license. And we're one of probably about 40 companies in all of New York State. So we were sort of out of the gates early. We have a very distinct and I think unique approach to this business. We're women owned, and we're also women operated. We make gummies. They're actually called gummy gems. and that's the first product offering that we're going to launch.
You were inspired with your business partner to apply for a license in New York.
Correct.
Which means to me that you already had a company formed. And what inspired you to apply for a license? What you obviously wanted to launch a business. So what tell us about that, a little bit about that process.
Well, it starts a little while back. My father was very ill, dying, and I was experimenting.
Sorry.
It's okay. I was experimenting with edibles for him, and I saw really how effective they were. I mean, how relaxed he became, how his sleep became better, and it really just set me on a trajectory towards providing this type of plant medicine to other people. And so I met Laurel in a interesting scenario. She also came from a cannabis law firm, and we decided that we wanted to start a business. This was pre-COVID, and we got the ball sort of rolling, and then it just stopped. So we spent 2 years, a year and a half, developing the business side. What we needed to do, what was going to give us some sort of established company, and how we could really do it our way, our special way. And through this time, I probably went to 10 or 15 cannabis conferences by myself. Usually I was often the only woman in the room, and that didn't really intimidate me. So when Laurel and I started out trying to figure out what we wanted to do, we knew that we wanted to do something that was transparent, that was unique, that was really the best expression of the plant and its medicine. And that's where we landed on solventless processing. So it took a lot of work, a lot of workshops, a lot of reading and education. And then we finally landed on this concept.
So tell us about your concept.
So our concept is we make products with hash rosin which is a solventless process. So we don't use ethanol, we don't use butane or propane. We also don't use CO2 oil, which in the whole scheme of things isn't really a solvent per se, but it does produce a type of product or oil that we didn't feel was the the best expression of the plant. I'll use that a lot. Uh, I also did a lot of research into the history of hash and how it was used in medicine in the 1800s in the US and how it's really been around for thousands of years in the Middle East, Afghanistan, Nepal, places like that. And I started to dig into what that meant. And what it really meant is you use your hands to create concentrate that can be used and will really give you the type of feeling and the type of medicinal qualities that I was looking for at that time.
Interesting. And so your products are derived from hash rosin?
Yes, so hash rosin is you make hash with ice and water, and you pluck the trichomes off of the plant, off of the bud, which is where all the good stuff is, the the flavonoids, the terpenes, the cannabinoid makeup. So instead of using the whole bud like a lot of other processors do, we really focus on those trichomes, those robust trichomes with the most medicine in them. And we use bubble hash process, which is to get those trichomes concentrated. And then we, after it's dried, we press them with heat and pressure. And so it further brings out the expression of the plant. Then we take that and we use it in our infused products, gummies at first, and then we're going to move into other edibles as well as topicals. We found that this process really works instantly, or at least in my eyes and my body and how it feels, where other products didn't give us what we really wanted.
Okay, that you're just kind of blowing me away here, Jamie. That's this is the first I've ever heard of this kind of process, and that doesn't mean that it isn't out there, but in my experience, it's rather unique. And so is a gummy that's created with hash rosin, does that give you a different feeling than the normal, which is now sort of run-of-the-mill Delta 9 gummy,
Yes,
THC gummy?
we believe that the effects, first of all, the taste. It is not uh, bitter or acrid or really, really chlorophyll or planty. It's a really refined concentrate that you can't really taste in the gummies except for a nuttiness and a pleasant taste, which I think a lot of people are looking for, considering the gummies on the market right now are made a very traditional way: CO2 oil, distillate, um, RSO, whatever you can they can find and produce at bulk, and then process into gummies. So we didn't want to do it that way. I come from the spirits industry, and I always compare this to making wine. And that's because the plant, just like grapes, need to be grown in the right environment with the right terroir. The winemakers have to choose the grapes that are the best expression of the wine that they want out of them. And then the process of maceration and also aging is very aligned with hash. You have to age it, you have to make it very carefully, you have to choose the buds and the flower specifically for what you're doing. Not all cannabis makes good hash, and that's what we're learning right now.
Wow. Okay, so you're not launched yet. You're launching this summer, correct?
Y- Correct. We're in production mode right now. We've had a couple setbacks.
I was just gonna, nice segue. I was just gonna ask you about your challenges.
Oh my God. I don't know if that could fit into this interview, actually. Um, well, we were making hemp. We had just gotten our hemp processing license, and we had 2 weeks to get our audit, a GMP audit, which is required, and also 2 weeks to apply for our adult use license. So scrambling isn't really the word, you know. The regulations in this industry, especially in New York, are so strict and rigid that we really had to do everything by the book, and we didn't really have the book, you know. So we did the best we could. We got our license on November 21st. That actually was the birth date of my co-founder's new baby. So all these things are happening, and we've sort of chugged along, pushed back on all the naysayers who, you know, basically say to us, "There's no way you can have a business out of hash. It's not scalable." And we found actually that's not true at all. So that's just one little challenge. This whole process has been a challenge, to be honest with you. Like I said, compliance is so difficult. We were chugging along, creating our packaging, and then we got word from the Office of Cannabis Management that we didn't remember, or we didn't know that some of these compliance labeling basically had to be on the package. So that's one way we had to like stop, pivot, and figure out a way to fill up this tin of gummies with all of this regulatory information. Um, that's hard, especially when you're self funded, which we have been, and you have already ordered thousands of tins or packaging and then you have to go back and change it. So not only is it frustrating, but it's also extremely expensive. I know that we're not the only ones going through this, but in order to be self-funded, you really have to be scrappy and use every dollar the most efficiently as you can.
For sure. Okay, so you're launching you're web-based as opposed to having an actual storefront.
Yes, so
Yeah.
um, we are the people that produce products for dispensaries and in New York. And so they wouldn't have anything on their shelves if it weren't for processors like us. The only issue is right now is that there's only like 4 or 5 dispensaries open, all of them for the most part in New York City. So that's not we're based in Poughkeepsie. So our customer base is all in Poughkeepsie and the Hudson Valley, and those dispensaries haven't opened their doors yet.
I see.
So even if we had a product like all ready to go, we wouldn't have a place to put them. Uh, so right now we're working through all that, trying to create relationships with cultivators, with dispensaries, and to really like get the ball rolling as soon as we have a product
Okay.
packaged and ready to go. Yep.
Okay, so you're not selling to the public. You're a processor you're selling to wholesalers and
Correct.
dispensaries.
Correct.
Understood. I thought you were selling to the public and I was going to line up to order
Yeah. Uh,
online as soon as you okay. So but you are at highland-goat.com
yes.
for
Yes.
dispensaries that want to order
Correct.
and you're in process and you'll be in production in the summer.
Right. Well,
Hopefully in time for in coinciding with the opening of the dispensaries in your area.
yeah, we'll be ready to go once they open. And Poughkeepsie is a really interesting place. They also have social consumption sites or bars that they're going to be opening. And for us, it's like uh, that's a big opportunity.
Yes, I would guess. Okay. And so, well, wow. All this time I was imagining you as a retailer and you're a processor, so that just makes my head shift a little bit here in terms of how I'm asking you the questions, and I suppose I could have figured that out from how we'd been exchanging. But so okay, so one of your challenges has been getting through all the regulations, and I see that everywhere when there are new laws and regulations, because New York just legalized a year and a half ago, right? And so whenever there are new regulations and new agencies coming into place, there is always this um, period of everybody scrambling, trying to figure out what's going on and when. And what I've seen is the legislature or the rule promulgating people are sort of optimistic in what they think can be done in certain periods of time. So that time frame is always short, and that scramble is real, for getting all those deadlines met. So I hear that challenge, but you've met it, so that's great.
For now, the OCM in New York is sort of writing the regulations as we go.
Yes.
And that's understandable because it's a new business. We don't, we're trying to do things here in New York that are different than other states. Um, and, we're patient, but it does create a challenge for sure.
But so far in your journey, Jamie, is there anything that you've encountered that you think, wow, this is so cool? When we started on this journey, however many years ago, I never thought that I would be doing this or liking this or that this would happen. Is there any?
Yeah, this was a big dream and a big idea for me. Um, I started with a lot of different concepts that just weren't executable. And, you know, there's always pushback as a woman in a new industry, especially this one. Um, and, you just kind of have to push through it and do things the way that you feel is the right way to do them, and hope that people support you. And what I've seen is just a massive amount of support and interest and curiosity. I think that what we do is a little bit harder to understand if you don't know a lot about the plant. Um, but it's encouraging. So many people ask me so many questions. I'm actually doing a workshop here locally on 420 to talk about the plant and talk about the stigma of cannabis and how we can work to destigmatize and really obliterate um, what this plant has been, you know, um, exposed to. I mean, what it's been sort of put away as this drug or this thing that is not legal, blah blah blah, all this stuff, which is not true. So part of what I want to do in growing this company is also growing the education of this plant so people can put aside their past prejudice and you know enjoy it and get involved in how it can help them.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I mean, there is so much misunderstanding, and I've been working in this industry for a while now, and so to me, it's normal, but running across, it's out there for most. I don't know what the stats are, and I know that most people favor legalization, but then you have states like Arkansas that just Governor Huckabee just signed into law a statute that bans Delta 8, 9, and 10. Um, and rather than think about what the plant actually can do, the plant and its derivatives, and give a thoughtful approach to how to regulate it and provide access for citizens that can benefit from it, there's this sort of knee jerk, like it's a bad drug reaction, and that's unfortunate.
Right.
A lot of education to be done.
Yep.
So we're lucky to have you. Do you have any advice for other women that are in the industry or entering into the industry?
I do. Stay strong and be confident in what you're doing. It's a good thing, and it's so worth it. Um, and don't be intimidated to learn and learn every day. This is not the kind of business or plant that one day you learn everything and that's all you need to learn. It's really an ongoing a journey into sister cannabis, which is what I like to call her, and understanding, you know, how she works, and also how passionate you can be around it. And I think that's one thing for me, and at least is the passion kept me in this business. There were so many times where I was like, oh, this isn't worth it. I'm never going to get anywhere. I'm never going to do anything. No one's going to help me. And that's actually not true at all. There are people out there. Find your people.
Find your people. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's important for sure. So I can tell from your what you little bit you've been able to share with us so far that you're patient and tenacious and passionate. How about
Mhm.
bodacious? What's Jamie Gorman's unique brand of bodaciousness?
I don't give up. I persevere. Um, I sometimes I'm maybe too big for life. I have these huge, awesome ideas. Well, at least I think. Keep having them. That's what my goal is.
Good for you. Good for you. Jamie, how can people connect with you if they want to connect with you, either to become a customer of Highland Goat or to, work with you in any other way for education or other purposes in the industry?
Well, I'm always available. Email me directly. It's jamie@highland-goat.com. And that's actually Jaime. A lot of people get that wrong. Um, you can always check out our website. It's being updated as we speak. Um, and also start attending conferences and workshops. I'm usually there, uh, especially the ones in New York. Um, and I'm always open to a Zoom or whatever with people that I probably don't know, and I just want to hear their questions and answer them.
Oh, that's great. And do you have are there, for you as a woman business founder startup, are there any conferences that you found particularly helpful that you recommend?
Yeah, I would say 6 or 7 years ago when I first got into this industry, my first conference was a women grow conference, and they're still around and they still do things for women to come in and learn how to operate in this industry. So they're wonderful. Uh, Also, I attended as many workshops as I could. Uh, Specifically about hash or the things that I was interested in. And I attended a few with the late Frenchie Cannoli, who I'm sure people listening know who he is. And now we're working with Cherry Blossom Bell, and she is a sort of a Frenchie was her mentor. She's one of the top hash makers in the country, maybe the world. Um, and learning her process and being empowered with so much information um, really helped me get the confidence that I needed to do what I'm doing.
Very nice.
Oh, and the business conferences, they're a little intimidating because there's a lot of investors, a lot of dudes in suits, whatever. But those, but but those are important to sort of get comfortable with the different audiences that you're going to be either speaking to or working with. Um, they're not as fun, but they're definitely really important. And some of those are like Benzinga in Miami, MJ BizCon, which is probably the biggest conference in the country in Las Vegas. It's good to go to see how many brands are out there, how many cultivators are out there, and just create
Hmm.
relationships.
Hmm. Okay, well, Jamie, Jaime at highlandgoat.com or highlandgoat, highlandgoat.com. Such a pleasure talking with you today, and I wish you guys the best of luck in your endeavor here. And
Thank you.
if you're ever needing taste testers, put me in the line. I'm always
I
interested
will.
in exploring different. Right. I mean, there's
And
so many different things what you can do with the plant. It's just amazing to me. And like you said, there's something new to learn every single day, multiple times a day. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. So thank you for sharing your journey and your wisdom with us and making the time to be with us today.
it was so fun. Thank you so much. I hope to see you there, out there, and everybody that's listening. I can't wait for this community of women to really come together, and that's exciting.
Thank you. That's a great note to end on. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much.